My name is Josh Breslow, and I want to get you right back into some of the big stories that we are following today. Take a look right here as we have the latest on the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. President Trump saying that China's President Xi Jinping agreed Iran should not have a nuclear weapon and offered to help open the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Trump explained that Xi said China would not provide weapons to Iran amid the conflict. In the meantime, a ship anchored off the United Arab Emirates was seized and taken toward Iran. Another, a cargo ship near Oman, sank after being attacked, escalating tensions in the strait. What you're looking at is a post from Iran International English saying an Indian-flagged cargo ship sank off the coast of Oman after an attack sparked a blaze aboard the vessel following a suspected drone attack. Indian authorities announcing that Thursday as Iran's foreign minister was visiting New Delhi. The ship was attacked when it was en route from Somalia over to another location Wednesday. India said without identifying who attacked the ship, so they have not provided more information. But the boat there sank off near the Strait of Hormuz after that suspected drone attack, while all crew members were safely rescued. London-based maritime security firm Windward said Thursday that the 57-meter vessel had its automatic identification system turned off when the incident occurred. So a lot of developing information that is coming in about this at this hour. And what I want to do is discuss the latest developments as we know that officials have said Operation Epic Fury is over, but there's still a lot going on with the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. Let's bring in Ari Cicurel, JINSA's Associate Director of Foreign Policy, to discuss it all. Ari, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And first off, I want to start by kind of getting an overall look here. As I mentioned here off the top, President Trump said that China's President Xi Jinping told him during some of their private conversations that China would not be selling weapons to Iran during the conflict. What do you make of that, and how significant is that overall?
It's significant if China follows through on the full extent of that. Iran was able to rebuild a lot of its ballistic missile arsenal after the 12-day war through Chinese help, providing precursor chemicals that it needs for ballistic missiles. Now, China may classify a lot of those chemicals as dual use, which means they might not qualify under China's interpretation of that promise. So the United States needs to make sure that China is following through, not just on providing conventional weapons, air defenses, but also stopping China from providing those dual-use technologies and chemicals.
And right now you're looking at that post again from Iran International English. We're talking about ships that were seized, one of them and another one attacked, leading to that ship sinking. As far as the Strait of Hormuz goes, that was, of course, a topic of conversation for Presidents Trump and Xi. Where do things kind of stand right now? Because it sounds as though if you're looking at different vessels that are being seized, attacked, sinking, that things have not gotten any better overall.
Well, we've seen the blockade has been highly effective in terms of stopping Iran from both rearming, from getting its oil out, or from getting ships that are trying to head to Iran in. So the blockade has been effective. Unfortunately, Iran has also been able to use a small number of anti-ship missiles, drones, its fast attack watercraft to also affect a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. So the United States has severely degraded Iran's military capacity by destroying a lot of its missiles and drones through thousands of strikes alongside Israel throughout Epic Fury. Unfortunately, Iran has also demonstrated an ability through just a handful of well-placed missiles and drones to hit ships either trying to sail through the Strait of Hormuz or in port. And that's really deterred ships from wanting to sail through. So as you mentioned, Epic Fury is over. There have been diplomatic talks, but now it's time for Epic Fury 2, an expanded operation that really opens up the Strait of Hormuz by both expanding the blockade, targeting Iran's remaining missile and drone capacity, opening up corridors for ships to sail through, under U.S. protection. Yeah.
And one thing that we kind of discussed off the top here during our first question is the relationship between China and Iran at this point. How does that kind of differ from maybe the relationship between the U.S. and China? Is China kind of trying to play in the middle here? Are they off to one side? Break that down for folks out there.
China's clearly benefiting or attempting to benefit from this war. It's part of a growing axis of U.S. adversaries, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, that are increasingly cooperating with one another, providing weapons, purchasing supplies from one another. And Iran really needs both Chinese and Russian help as well to rearm. Also, the munitions that the United States is using against Iran in a fight that needs to be waged to prevent Iran from amassing more missiles and drones that would pose an existential threat to the region, as well as amassing nuclear capabilities. So those munitions being used in the war cannot, unfortunately, be used in the Indo-Pacific. That means that really what this is underscoring is that the United States needs to rapidly rearm. It's revealing that the United States has spent years underdeveloping its defense industrial base. And China, unfortunately, is continuing to expand its military capacity.
And this is a post here from Reuters saying that U.S. President Donald Trump said that his patience with Iran was running out after he discussed the costly and unpopular war with Chinese President Xi Jinping, and a ship was reportedly seized by Iranian personnel off the United Arab Emirates. So again, kind of going into what we were talking about here overall, is there, I don't want to say concern, but are there thoughts that we could potentially see everything pick up once again with the U.S. Now that President Trump is headed back to the U.S., maybe the U.S. Launching more attacks on Iran?
I think so. Unfortunately, both sides think they're in a winning position right now. I think the United States has the upper hand, but Iran is convinced that it can outlast our willingness to engage a fight in the Middle East. And we need to disabuse them of that notion, that theory of victory, by resuming attacks against their remaining watercraft, their remaining missile and drone arsenal, and reopening the strait to convince what remains of the Iranian leadership that they cannot have control of the Strait of Hormuz.
We know that over in Israel, it's important to note that Prime Minister Netanyahu met with a security group there. He essentially gathered some of the security personnel to talk a little bit more behind closed doors about the situation with Iran. Does Israel have any influence over the U.S. as to what happens next? Does the U.S. have any influence over Israel?
I think both sides have publicly made it clear that the ball is in President Trump's court in terms of resuming operations and where this goes. Both countries have their own interests and their own threat tolerance. Israel, being in the region, has a much lower tolerance for aggression near it. Certainly, Iran poses a potential existential threat to it with the thousands of missiles that it was amassing both before the 12-day war and before the current war. So both sides will make their own calculations, but I really see the decision of whether to resume operations taking place in Washington.
And kind of going more toward Israel here, I want to talk just a little bit about the situation with Hezbollah very briefly, as this is a post from the Israel War Room saying the IDF, talking, of course, about the Israel Defense Forces, launching a wave of airstrikes targeting Hezbollah infrastructure in southern Lebanon. It says earlier the IDF issued evacuation warnings for several villages on the outskirts of that area ahead of the strikes. What I wanted to ask you about is kind of the ties here between Iran and Hezbollah and what we can gauge from this, if anything, as we know that Israel continues its operations there in Beirut and in southern Lebanon.
So one of the major successes of the war has been cutting off Iran's ability to supply its proxies, both the Houthis as well as Hezbollah, both with weapons it currently has as well as destroying its military industrial base, its weapons production factories. So Iran can also has also lost its ability to rearm itself, as well as rearm its proxies. Hezbollah and Israel have both been exchanging fire throughout this ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. As we speak, Israeli and Lebanese officials are in Washington discussing potential extension of the ceasefire and what an agreement to end the war could look like. Unfortunately, Hezbollah is trying to play spoiler to that, and the problem remains that Israel wants the removal of Hezbollah from southern Lebanon, the removal of its arms. The Lebanese armed forces have said that they've tried to do that. Unfortunately, they still lack both the capabilities and the will to do that on their own. So Israel has continued its targeting of Hezbollah.
And it is important to know that that ceasefire is between Israel and Lebanon. It's not between Israel and the Hezbollah terror group. Those are two different kind of factions there. We're not talking about Hezbollah being affiliated with Lebanon and the army that you were discussing there. But that's an important note that maybe a lot of people don't realize.
Absolutely. The main problem is that Hezbollah is not agreeing to the ceasefire, is not a party to the ceasefire. And so you have two parties, the Israeli and Lebanese officials, trying to negotiate a ceasefire with the third party not in the room and trying to play spoiler to it. Hezbollah does not want to disarm. Hezbollah does not want to stop attacking Israel. And until the Lebanese government is willing to push the Lebanese military to remove Hezbollah's presence from southern Lebanon, Israel is going to continue to defend itself.
All right. Ari, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and discuss this. My final question for you, what are we watching for next when it comes to the U.S. and Iran? Kind of going back to that, what should we be watching for in the coming days, hours, all of that?
Yeah, I think this is critical as we move past the summit in Beijing, as the blockade has been working, but still we see the ships not sailing through the Strait of Hormuz, looking for President Trump to potentially resume attacks against Iran. And I think the question really remains to what extent he resumes attacks, whether this remains a narrow focus on the Gulf or whether this is a full-scale resumption of widespread strikes throughout Iran. But either way, the United States needs to be using military force to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Ari, thank you again for being here with us. Anything we missed that you want to make sure that we add here before I let you go?
I think over the long term, we need to be looking at what our presence in the Middle East looks like in the wake of this war. For the long time, we've been basing in the Gulf, and we've seen Iran attack all of the Gulf states. As we look to replenish, as we look to renew our posture in the Middle East, we need to both be looking at rapidly replenishing our munitions and our presence in the Middle East, but also looking at basing structures that are more sustainable, including basing in Israel that has a greater distance from Iran.
All right. Thank you again for taking the time to join us on this Friday. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And want to pop this up one more time, coming in from Reuters on the heels of President Trump's trip there to China, departing just hours ago. President Trump said that his patience with Iran was running out after he discussed the costly and unpopular war with Chinese President Xi Jinping, and a ship was reportedly seized by Iranian personnel off the United Arab Emirates. As I mentioned a bit earlier, a ship also attacked, and that ship sank there. That was off the coast of Oman. We'll keep you posted on everything related to Operation Epic Fury and the situation itself. Right now here, we heard from Admiral Brad Cooper, the CENTCOM commander, just yesterday as he testified before Congress. And here's actually a quote as he said, U.S. Central Command was created in direct response to the threats posed by the Islamic Republic of Iran, and I am the 16th CENTCOM commander to deal with the Iranian problem set. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has terrorized the region and made hostility to the United States a core tenet of its rule. Now, again, we heard from the CENTCOM commander just yesterday, Admiral Brad Cooper, who who testified before the Senate Armed Services Committee alongside the head of AFRICOM. Coming up in just about 2 hours, another hearing set to get underway with the officials with the U.S. Army. And you have to imagine that there will be, at the very least, a little discussion about Iran. We'll bring you those opening remarks coming up in just about 2 hours.